Good morning. All right, that's better. That's better. Let the coffee kick in. That's right. First, thank you very much for having me and allowing me to spend the first 90 minutes of the conference with you. I think we're going to have some fun. Hopefully, this will be very interactive. That's what the style is going to be. And some of the takeaways, I also hope that maybe you could integrate as you see fit into your own brand and your own customer experience. Before we get started, we have some very distinguished CEOs here in the room. And what I'd ask is that each one of them take about 30 seconds to introduce yourselves, okay, and tell us who you are and what you do. So, do we have a microphone? Yeah. Let's start. Who wants to go first? Yeah. Stan?
Yeah, hi, morning. I'm Atul Madan. I represent a company called SSIPL. We are the leading franchisee retailers for Nike and Levi's across the country. And I try and run retail business for the organization and keep things simple for the retail executives and the front-end store staff.
Excellent, thank you.
Good morning. My name is Martin. I'm a partner and director in Monili Jewelries in Dubai. I'm responsible for our master franchise of amazing jewelry that you'll hear more about later on today from Jesper. And we look very much forward to visit Mumbai and meet a lot of interesting people here and hear about what's going on in the market.
Wonderful, thank you. Next.
Hi, my name is Gautam. I represent a ladies' bottom wear brand by the name of Go Colors. We have more than 200 EBOs in India, and we plan to expand and go to other cities as well.
Excellent.
Hello, I represent the brand called Sahira. We manufacture ladies' wear, which is Indo-Western in designing and everything. Mm-hmm. It is ethnic and inspired from Western patterns and prints as well. We are a very young brand. We established in 2015 only. And we started as a semi-wholesale, semi-retail kind of a thing. And currently we'll be coming up with our EBO by the end of this year. So I do have a moderate experience with retailing. I've handled some of it retail customers as well.
Great. Thank you.
I represent a company called High Design. We do leather goods. We've been around actually for quite a while. We started in '78, so the company's grown on most of the formats. We're in the multi-brands. We're quite a large number of our own stores and on e-commerce.
Very good, thank you.
Good morning. My name is Anuj Batra. I represent a company called Elsa Sports. We are into activewear. It's a new young brand which was launched around a year and a half back. We've opened up 4 EBOs as on date in just last 3 months. Besides this, we are also available through 165 large format retail outlets and around 700 MBOs, along with the e-commerce portals like Amazon, Flipkart, and everything. So the company manufactures approximately 45,000 apparels a day, and we are making it for various different brands across the world. So it's a domestic brand of a company called Paragon Apparels.
Very good. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. My name is Amit Pandey. I work for The Collective.
Hi, my name is Pranay. I represent a company called Locomotive Design. We in the design and research space in the Indian market. I'm probably been working with most of the Indian brands one aspires to work with.
Okay, great. Thank you. We'll have this panel at the end. I hopefully save enough time if I get through this, where we're going to be able to have some very effective interactive questions and answers. So if we could go to the presentation, that would be great. Get it up. Okay, while they're doing that, The introduction, certainly suggests that I've done a lot of work, and over 30 years we've had, and I'm going to tell a little bit about that story because you deserve to know more about it. But I'm first going to ask a question. How many of us have been in retail for at least 10 years? Raise your hands. In any form or fashion. Okay, how about 20 years? 30? 40? I usually lose people at 40. I'm 50. 50 years I've been in this business. And here's what's crazy about it. I was born into a family retail business, okay? And at it was a men's higher-end apparel business in Boston. And on Sundays, this is way back when we weren't open, my dad used to ask me to accompany him to the store, and I used to hold pins while he rigged these displays, and I used to go fetch items when he was merchandising. And when I got a little bit older, I was able to empty waste baskets, and a little bit older, and then I was relegated to the stock room and do shipping and receiving, and I could come upstairs and I could put tissue paper in the bins, and I could keep the maintenance. And I learned very quickly at an early age that I didn't like retail. I didn't like it at all. But there was something else that I learned along the way. When I got out on the sales floor and I'm doing all this operational stuff, I just saw things differently. And my job today is trying to help you all see things a little bit differently. That's the idea. I didn't look at the merchandise and the merchandising. I didn't do that. What I did is I looked at people. I couldn't help it. I looked at people. And I could see customers and these professional associates, back then they used to make a living at this, not engaging. Some would, some wouldn't. But it was always sort of the same thing. It was always, some people did a little better than other people, and I was always wondering why. We'll get to that in a little while. But also something else happened. As I'm working on the floor, and I'm handling merchandise, and I'm doing my stock work and all of that, customers used to gravitate over to me. They used to come over and they used to look. And for those of you in retail, you know what I'm talking about. Action and activity creates interest. This is going to be fundamental when we talk about both the retail idea of creating buy environments, but also on the digital side. They come over, and then they would ask me questions. I'm a kid. They'd ask me questions, and I'm thinking, why would you ask me a question when that professional is standing right over there who's supposed to have the answer? And the reason why I discovered was because I wasn't there to sell them anything. I was there, and they could ask, interact, questions, and get answers. This was interesting. So then what I started to do is play with it. I used to walk over to the pant wall, and I rearranged the pant wall, and over they would come, and we could interact. And as I took product and I walked around the store and I moved, it created this sense of mobility and energy, and I could move into and through customers' space with ease. And I always seemed to be in the right place at the right time. I was able to say the right thing to the right customer, and I began to fall in love with this idea of engaging and interacting in a totally different way. It's not about selling, because you can sniff it. It's all about helping customers buy. And so I was able to create this whole idea of what we call buying environments. They're different. Buying environments are the complete opposite of selling environments, and most retailers, both, in my mind, both make the mistake of creating selling environments in-store and digitally. And it gets you to think differently. So what I was able to do, I was able over the years to talk to some of these companies. And the perspective that I was able to give them was different. This isn't about training, although I'm in the training and development world, but really it's about taking the operating model of any retailer, the way in which you want your customer to engage your brand, and then helping your associates understand certain ideas, concepts, and skills, which, quite frankly, when you see today, they already know how to do. They don't know how effective they can be. They don't know the impact of their own activities and behaviors on the customer. So these are a few of the companies that we're able to do business with. And when I say, or we're quoted about all that sales generation, over these years of 30 plus years, these companies have integrated these ideas into their businesses. And Staples alone, Staples alone does $25 billion a year, as you all probably know, globally. So it works. These ideas are going to work for selling reams of paper all the way up to high-end fashion jewelry. All right? Now, the interactive part. What does a buying environment mean? So what I've done is I've written this down. It's a sensory, in-store, and digital experience. Sensory. It's important because we have 5 senses. And what we want to do is we want to try to stimulate as many of those senses as possible to increase the quality and frequency of the interaction. The quality and frequency of the interaction. That's going to drive transactions. And this is key. And we miss, you're going to see, a lot of associates and a lot of us miss the opportunity to stimulate this natural emotion to buy. They don't see it. My job is to help all of us see the ideas of this. So, we do have to first see it. So we're going to play a little game. This is your turn. Now watch carefully, and I'm going to ask you some questions. Okay, what do you see? You can't get this wrong. Somebody yell out what you see. You see the word lift. Everybody see it? What else do you see? Come on. Simple. Sorry? There's 2 things up there. There's the word lift, and if you can't see it, it's in white. And then there are 5 puzzle pieces. Now, what's important about this is if you're looking at the puzzle pieces, you can't see the word lift. And if you're looking at the word lift, you can't see the puzzle pieces. You can't see 2 things at the same time. We can't. But you can flip back and forth. What's really important is that most sales associates see the customer in a certain way. And I'm going to challenge you to answer the question on how you think they actually visualize the customer, because what it is they see impacts their behavior. And behavior is everything, okay? So, another question. Now I want you to all be consumers, and all of us are consumers. So, when you go out into the world of retail, I don't care where it is, which feeling do you prefer? Buying something, buying nothing, or the feeling of being sold? Yell it out. Buy. We love to buy, okay? And this is really important because this natural emotion to buy is built into every single visit. Everybody that engages us, either physically or digitally, would rather buy than not buy, but they don't. They don't as often as we would like. Our conversion rates are relatively low. Even the mighty Staples, you would think that everybody that walks into a superstore like that would buy. They don't. They have fluctuating conversion rates of anywhere from 45% in a Staples store up to 75%. Why would people come in and shop at a Staples store? It's remarkable to me. So think about your own businesses and you think about your conversion rates. How many of us of the retailers that are in the room count traffic, visit counters? Excellent. Okay? And we're going to see. What do you do with that information? I'm going to show you how to use that information in a way that can really generate an impactful outcome. Most companies do today have visit counters. They don't know what to do with it. Nothing. They don't know what to do with it. Except track maybe visit patterns, and then that helps us with staffing and scheduling. But it doesn't help us with the idea of impacting with skills and knowledge the outcome of your customer interaction. Okay, this natural emotion to buy, I'm going to try now okay, to take you in and out using this whole concept, both from a store perspective as well as online. This exists in all of us. And it's both, and here's where we win. Here's why all of those businesses thought about this differently. It's inexhaustible. Everybody that walks through the door, and think of all those visits. Everybody. It's inexhaustible. They keep coming. The beautiful part about our business is they keep coming to us. It's fascinating. We get tries over and over and over again. Every day, every hour, we get the opportunity to impact the customer's experience. And actually, it's easy to stimulate. But we're going to talk about a couple of ways that the industry has done this over the years. Okay, there's a customer experience. This is a value equation, okay? And all of us have a value equation. I want you to begin to think about it somewhat differently. It all starts with our brand and image marketing. We try to get the message out to our customer, okay? We're looking for eyeballs and we're looking for ears, okay, as best we possibly can. What that's supposed to do, if we're effective, that's supposed to drive them to us. It used to be much more of a retail concept, but as we know, the digital world is growing. Really important. So they're going to access our brand a couple of different ways, and in they come. And if you think about this from a retail perspective, I don't know how many visits you have. We're going to talk about the value of those visits in a little while. Staples didn't realize until we put these counters in, they have over 300 million visits a year. That's a lot of visits, 300 million. And they're not scratching the surface in terms of what they could be doing with those visits. Now, they come into and access our brand. Whoa, what happened? They access our brand for our products. Naturally, they have to come and we want them to buy our products. And we do a really good job to stimulate the emotion to buy. These three pillars are the chip to entry. You got to be good at these today. You just have to be. And if you're not good at these three, get good at them. But the vast majority and the wild card in my world is the fourth component. And if you have the fourth component right, you're going to become a category killer. And that's people. It's the wild card. It's hard. They turn over. They have points of view. They talk back. They don't do what we need them to do all the time. And so we have a physical and we have a digital way of thinking about one thing: humanizing our brand. Now, humanizing is really what I'm finding today that these brands are trying to bring together. We've got silos. We've got two different ways, and I'm not talking about you specifically. I want you to think about this. We have a retail brand experience, and then we have a digital brand experience, and quite frankly, they're not the same. I had a nice dinner last night with Amit, and when we do the interaction, I'm going to ask him to talk about how he's actually blended the two. But this is really important. We're chasing all the time now to begin to humanize. Let's talk about how we're going to do that, and then we'll get into the specifics. This is Retail 101, and you got to have this, and we all know that we fight desperately to make it happen. You got to have the right product, and you got to have it in the right place, and you got to have it at the right time, and you need to have it at the right price. 101, correct? It's really a simple concept, but this is what we fought for forever. But I call this speed shopping. What happened in the evolution of retail is we got away from, in my 30-plus years, we got away from the importance of people, and we increased the importance of our product mix, our product merchandising. And as a result, what ended up occurring was we became more sophisticated with our products, which we needed to be, and as a result, our people became less and less important and less effective. A real challenge. So, get them in, have them look, like to have them buy, and get them out, especially digitally. Efficiency and speed is really important. I'm going to challenge you to think about it differently. I don't think so. Here's Retail 102. What we're talking about is having the right people in the right place, at the right time, doing and saying the right thing. Now, when I talk about people, I talk about humanizing. I'm also going to have to, I don't have that time to get in the digital side, but I'm going to try to draw correlations between what we're going to be talking about skill-wise and behavior-wise and impact-wise in the retail store, and also how that's going to transfer into the digital world. This is slow shopping. Maybe you've heard of the concept of slow shopping. I love it. Slow down. We go to all the trouble to get our customers to want to come to us and access us, and we try to get them out as fast as possible. No. You got to make them want to stay comfortably in your store. The longer they're there, the more effective all that other stuff is. You see, this is so important today because not only will this increase the propensity to buy all your merchandise, your merchandising, your signage, your floor planning, all that stuff gets a better chance to work. And most importantly now, you're keeping them away from your competitor. Big deal. Big deal. We're fighting for the attention of the customer, and we're fighting to get them to want to work with us. And this Omni Shopper that we're talking about, they're unbelievably elusive. They're hard to catch. They spearfish. We get them on a hook, and they're gone. Then we got to try to get them back. Okay, slow shopping. I believe the next retail gold rush, and this is where I'm banking all of my time and effort, is going to be increasing duration. I call it visit minutes. Duration. So important. Because that's what you've done. You spent all this time and money to create places where your customer is going to access your brand. Don't you want them to be there? We don't think about that. We don't think about the customer and the customer interaction as deeply as we could. And that's what I'm here to begin to not just challenge you to do, but you're going to see a lot of this is right there. It's right there. And you're going to be able to take these ideas and concepts back and you can have some fun with it. And by the way, they work. They always work. Okay, what we're going to talk about today is the physical side because I just don't have enough time to go over the digital portion of this. What I'm about to show you is a series, okay, of skills that we've created. And there's a step process to it that I'm going to show right now. The first skill, okay, the first skill we're talking about is the concept of proactivity. Proactivity. I'll show you a video, and I narrate these videos. They're animated, they're fast, they're quick, and they're easy to put to work. But the concept of proactivity is to take, it's what I learned as a little boy, is to take your operational approach, your product merchandising, product handling, to cause and create energy. The opportunity, okay, to increase your availability. The opportunity to comfortably engage and interact with your customer as they see fit in the business. And watch. It's what I call the passport to productivity, being in the right place at the right time. Let's hope.
At the heart of a buying environment is something we call proactivity. Proactivity is the skill of using operational tasks as a way to generate energy, connect with more customers, and complete the work we need to get done in order to keep things running smooth and looking great. Now, you might not have thought about it this way, but when we're actively doing things like recovery, merchandising, new product placement, that sort of thing, it creates the kind of energy that makes customers more comfortable with us around. Because if they need us, we're close by. And if they don't, well, they won't feel that uncomfortable pressure that often exists when associates linger in the background. And the simple fact is, when customers are comfortable, they stay in our stores longer. And the longer they stay, the chances of them buying increases dramatically. You see, there's more time for our merchandise and displays to catch their eye and create curiosity, as well as cause them to consider more products. Well, that's great, But the product on its own could only go so far, and we've all been there. You see something you like, and you think, I like it, but I'm not quite sure. This is what we call the curiosity tipping point. And if you don't talk yourself into it, it goes right back on the rack. But if there was somebody comfortably available, you might be able to ask a question of, or who could provide a little advice, well, there you go. Less is going to go back on the rack and more will go right out the door. And that's the cool part about proactivity. You'll get the operational work done, but in a way that energizes the store and keeps customers comfortable, increases their duration, and dramatically increases your opportunity to connect. Okay, so here's how it works. Let's take something that we all have to do, recovery. Instead of just tidying up or returning things to their proper location, take a look around. And when you see a customer browsing, take the item or the items that you're working with and choose a path that brings you into and through their space. It's really simple. When you get there, you can just say hi and keep on going, or you can remain nearby and put looks together or compare similar items, read labels, or check sizes. And don't worry, as long as you're actively working with or carrying merchandise, your customer will be comfortable, making interacting so much easier for them. And the more we interact, the more we transact. But what about those activities that don't require movement, like stocking feature tables or sizing a wall fixture? It still works, and here's why. Customers are attracted to areas of the store where things are happening. Have you ever noticed when you're busy doing things that customers will often come over and check it out? It's what we call professional attraction. So keep your head up and your body turned toward the floor as much as you can, and don't be surprised to see more customers gravitate toward you and want to interact. Okay, that's it. From now on, let's not think about tasks as things to complete. Let's think of them as ways to generate energy, increase your availability, and comfortably promote more interactions that lead to more transactions.
That's the concept and the idea. I have to stop for a second because we have some other distinguished CEOs that didn't get a chance to introduce themselves, correct? So wherever the microphone is there. So could we do that? I have to apologize. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, good morning. This is Lalit Agarwal. I'm the CMD, the Chairman and Managing Director of V-Mart Retail. This is a value retail fashion store. We operate 170 stores across India, primarily tier 2, tier 3 towns. Today we attract more than 500 million market cap.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning. I am Vinay Natkani. I am the Managing Director of Globus. We are a fashion retail store attracting the young customers in India and have 40 stores across India.
Thank you.
I'm Dharmesh Patel, Managing Director of Options. We have got unisex fashion stores in Mumbai only.
Thank you.
Diamonds are a girl's best friend. My name is Vijay Jain and we run a company called Aura, and we've got 30 plus stores across 24 cities in India.
Hi, my name is Rohit and I work with Calvin Klein and Tommy Hilfiger in the retail division.
Thanks, Rohit.
Hi, I'm Vineet Gautam. I head a company called Bestseller. We are a European fashion house and we have about 6 brands in the country.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. Myself Roma Bhatia. I'm from Lucknow and I have my company name is Prakriti Collections. It's a company of Lucknowi chicken curry kurtis, and I'm a young entrepreneur, so I'm here to learn many things. Thank you.
Thank you. Paul, yes.
Good morning. My name is Vivek Bali. I am the Chief Operating Officer for Sephora in India and leading the expansion in India.
Thank you. Apologies. Oh, one more.
Morning. This is
Thank you. You miss anybody? Okay, all right. This foundational skill is actually more like an operating system. Most retailers actually have things to do, and then, oh, by the way, there are customers that need to be assisted. And there's a gap between the two. So what we came up with was this idea of utilizing these operational tasks, or the way in which we handle and move merchandise, or do whatever we do with merchandise, to cause and create these interactions. So it's a dual benefit, and 100% of the customers are going to feel and see this impact. This is not about creative avoidance. It's not about doing things and not working with the customer. We actually do things to impact the customer. That's the idea. And what associates don't realize, or we don't realize, is that all that energy which actually occurs automatically, we don't turbocharge it. We don't turn it back into our opportunity to stimulate that emotion to buy. It's dissipated. So we need to start thinking about this. And each one of you, as you're looking at your business right now, you know what's going on. You can see it. You can see what's happening on your floors right now, and visualize that. And these concepts, if you could take in as an idea and think about integrating it, it's actually pretty easy. It's only going to help with the engagement and the interaction. So, this is the foundation. There are 6 skills, okay, that actually happen before we even talk to a customer. I believe, and they're all designed to improve conversion. I believe conversion happens or is greatly influenced before we ever talk to a customer. And this is what we miss up front, is the opportunity we have to impact that consumer's first, second, and third moments in time in our store. The next skill, once we're in the right place at the right time, is a simple one. It's hello. But hello, we say, is more than a word. It's an actual language. And this is important. What you're going to have to do is think about hello and culturalize it for your own brand experience. This is how we think about it.
Hello seems so simple. So why are we even talking about it? Because hello is way more than a word. It's an impression, an incredibly important first impression of you and our brand, and it sets the tone for the entire visit. Some hellos send a warm and welcoming message, and some don't. These first impressions happen in seconds and are nearly impossible to reverse or undo. And we've all heard the saying, you never get a second chance to make a great first impression. Well, here's our chance. Hello is made up of a couple of languages. The first is what we say. You know, the words. Hello, good morning, welcome. Really simple. You don't even have to think about it. Out they come automatically. But you might be surprised to know that the words you say make up only about 7% of the overall message. But the second language is body language, or how we say it. And this is where the rubber hits the road, because body language makes up the remaining 93%. So when we combine what we say with how we say it, we create what's called a whole body hello. And because hello is most often the first thing customers see, hear, and feel, understanding the impact it has on our customers' buying emotions is a big deal. Okay, whole body hellos aren't complicated. Much of what you need to know is common sense. The fastest and most effective way to positively influence your customers' first few moments happens even before we say a word. And it's also incredibly simple. Eye contact and a genuine smile. And here's what this does. The impact is instant because people like to smile. Smiles are contagious. And so the vast majority of the time, you're going to get one right back. But even if you don't, you're off to a great start. And here's another exciting fact. You're 85% more likely to work with customers if you smile. It's an invitation to interact. What's happening here is you're conveying your availability and establishing a more personal connection with the customer. All right, a genuine smile starts the engine, but Getting it into gear takes more. You gotta complete the entire package, so here are the other components. Your tone of voice. It should be positive and upbeat. The way you walk, poised and confident. Your body position, open and accessible. All transmit something about you. And even when it's not practical to actually say hello, for instance, when you're on the phone or working with another customer, project your hello by making eye contact and smiling. Add a quick acknowledgement with a slight gesture and open that body position and you're done. Okay, your whole body hellos are a big deal because they set the tone for your customer's entire experience. So put all your own pieces together. Eye contact, a genuine smile, that tone of voice, and the way you move, plus your body position, and then bottle it. Practice it and enjoy many more customers wanting to work with you.
So, we spend an awful lot of time on some of the simple things. These are things that everybody knows how to do. But do they actually do them? Do they know what it is they're doing and how it greatly influences the outcome of the customer's experience? They may or may not. Once they become aware, and this is really more awareness than training, then they do it. And they can start to feel and see the feedback. And it's really positive. Then it becomes, as we say, contagious. Everybody knows how to smile, but what they don't know is the power of it. It's a very, very powerful thing. So I spend a lot of time on that. Now, think of it. We now have the opportunity to create energy in the store. We're moving, okay? It's very comfortable. Think of it this way. How many of you have ever been to an Apple store? Pretty interactive, isn't it? Yeah? It's unbelievably interactive. You're drawn into it. People like, and they like activity. They're drawn into it. What's amazing about Apple, in those stores, the products are more expensive than online. And people buy them. Why? Why would they do that? Because they want to be there. They want to engage and interact. And they're really, really, really good at the first moments in time. Everybody's on stage. Real important, so think about this. All right, so now we're moving. We're engaging. We're looking. We've got the customer in the first few moments feeling comfortable, okay? Next is assessing what we call interest. Let me ask you a question. If I was to ask, or you were to ask your sales associates, there are only two types of customers in your store at any moment in time, and it's not male-female. What would the answer be? Come on, what would they say? Come on, somebody yell it out. Buyers and non-buyers. It's true. They either buy or they don't, right? It's simple math. So they're already able to detect when somebody comes in, whether they are or they're not, based on what they see. And not 100% of the people that walk through your doors are getting the same visit, because we're making a determination before we ever even engage them. There's only one way to think about your customers, and this is to get your teams to think about 100% of all the people that access your business, that you spend all that money to get them to come. Ready or not, here they come. Assessing interest.
There are so many, and each are unique. And that can make interacting challenging. But it's not really that complicated, because if you think about it, at any given time, there are only two types of customers in your store. The ones who are interested, and the ones who are not interested in your help. And just by thinking this way, you'll begin to see that every customer non-verbally transmits what we call signals of interest. And when you recognize them, you'll be far more successful interacting, and as a result, more customers will want to work with you, which is the objective. All right, let's begin with the most typical customer signals: not interested, commonly known as browsing. We all know what it looks like, but if you take a closer look, it's packed with signals. Customers who are not interested often stroll around the store with no real purpose or destination. They may be casually touching things and avoiding eye contact. They might move slowly away from us with closed body language, almost indifferent. or they might be on the phone, or talking with a shopping companion. When customers are sending not interested signals, what they're really saying is they want a little time and a little space. But, this is really important, it doesn't necessarily mean they'll remain that way throughout their visit, because very often they don't. And that brings us to the next set of signals, the ones that suggest when customers are interested in interacting. Okay, it's pretty obvious when a customer makes eye contact and waves at us, they're interested in your help. But there are some not so obvious signals that do as well, and they happen far more often. For example, remember that browsing customer? Often they may be touching that same product, but this time with interest, like they're considering it. Other times they may look pleased or even satisfied, like this might be the one. They could look puzzled, like they've got a question. They might be comparing products. They may look like they're in a hurry or moving with purpose. And the one to watch for is repeated location. Customers who return to items they were looking at previously are signaling interest. But signals aren't always this clear, and a customer's state of interest can fluctuate. One moment they appear not interested, and then just like that, they look interested, sometimes very quickly. So stay focused and aware of your customers' signals of interest, because when you do, you'll be able to tailor your interactions, making them far more effective. And that will increase the number of customers who will actually want to work with you.
One of the most important skills to have, and not a lot of associates do, but it's interesting because all these years that I've worked, you run into these, what we call high-impact professionals. They're really, and you know, you've got them or you've seen them. And what's always interesting to me to watch them interact and behave, they always seem to be in the right place at the right time. They always seem to be saying the right thing to the right customer. They always seem to be attracting consumers to them. And I always ask the same question, how do you do it? Hey, I don't know, I just do it. They're not even aware of what they're doing. That's what we've done. We've taken all of this and we've turned it into ideas that people can actually internalize and apply. Then we talk to managers or CEOs and they say, well, how come I can't find more of those people? And we try to find them. Well, they're not available. They're not out there. There are not enough of them. But what we can do is we actually can help the teams that we have right now get better. And that is important because we already have invested in those folks. Okay, so now we've got this energy, this movement. We're engaging and interacting with the customer with great eye contact and nice whole body hellos. We're assessing these states of interest. And now we're going to start to interact with them. Whether they're interested or not yet interested, there are skills you need to know that can be successful with both. The first one is called give and go. This is important because you're going to stop hearing no. No is the worst word that we can get in a retail business, and we hear it most of the time. We usually hear it right out of the gate. I'm going to ask you a simple question. Sales associates, walk up to customers. What is it the first thing, besides hello or welcome, what is it they say to consumers? What? Come on, what do they say typically? Say again? Or may I help you? What do customers respond saying? No! It's insanity. What? Okay. Then what happens is the customer says, no, thank you, I'm just looking. Then what does the associate say after that? Come on. You can't get it wrong. What? Let me know. I'll be standing right over here. Okay? So you got the associate over here. You got the customer over here. Then you come around the corner. Manager come around the corner, right? And sees this. Sees the customer over there and the associate over here, and they do this. And the associate, it's unbelievable. Why would we do that? So here's a way to stop it. Here's a way to stop it. So everybody gets the engagement and interaction that they actually want because they're displaying what it is they want all the time in a store. Give and go is a very effective skill that utilizes all of the first three components. And it's one of the first things that we do and say to a customer who's not yet interested.
There is no other word that's a greater conversion killer than the word no. And that might sound a little obvious, but no is often the very first word we hear from our customers when they visit. Why is that? Because right out of the gate, what customers most often hear from salespeople is, "May I help you?" Now let's think about the logic of what's going on here. We know the vast majority of customers initially begin their visit not really interested in any help. So if you walk up to those customers and ask them if they need help, what do you think the answer is likely to be? No. And when customers begin their visit saying no, you're climbing uphill. So to be fair, sometimes asking those very same customers if they need help actually works, but only 20 to 30% of the time. The other 70 to 80% of the time you are hearing no. So it's no coincidence that the conversion rates hover around 25%. So how do you stop hearing no? You give and go. That's right, give and go. A simple yet extremely effective skill designed specifically to boost the buying emotions of those not yet interested customers. You see, those customers not only value their time and their space, but they also like something else, information. And that's what we mean when we say give and go. So you might be saying to yourself, what do I say? What kind of information? The kind customers appreciate. Information about your products, information about how things look together or coordinate, and any information about events or promotions you may have going on. Okay, here's the idea. You see a customer who initially appears not really interested in your help. All you have to do is grab an item or items and engage in a little proactivity. As you move comfortably into and through their space, give them a little of that information and keep going. That's it. Give and go. Give and goes are not questions. Think of them as little nuggets of cool information that you think customers would be interested in knowing. And that's important because when you create your give and go, they won't sound canned and they won't sound staged. They should be short, just a few words, and delivered with enthusiasm. For example, that jacket is wind and waterproof. Those sweaters look great with our corduroys. And today we're having our friends and family event. After you deliver your give and goes, you're probably going to be surprised just how many customers actually will become interested. And if so, the conversation will begin naturally. But if not, you've delivered exactly what that customer appreciates. Your availability, some useful or interesting information, and respect for their time and their space. And the icing on the cake is customers won't say, "No thanks, I'm just looking," because you haven't asked a question. You just given a little information. And the fewer times customers have to say no, the more positive their mindset will be and the greater the chances are that they are going to buy. So remember, to stop hearing no, give and go.
Some of your teams already do this. They do, and again, they don't even know what they're doing. They just do it, which is really cool. Once they understand what they're doing and the impact of it, it's a totally different world. They just see the consumer in a different way. Also, the idea of coming up with what you want to say is up to the individual. One of the great things that we do, and I got to speed up because we're going to run out of time. One of the things we really do is to challenge the teams when they're on the floor. If there's nobody in the store, grab this merchandise, put it together. Create lifestyle ideas. Think of where, when, and with what it would be worn. What features, advantages, and benefits you think are really important. Okay? Get it into your head because in 20 minutes, someone's going to be looking and standing right next to that product and you're going to wish you knew what to say. This is really important because product education is a big portion of what needs to happen in terms of associates being armed, okay, with the kind of skills and knowledge that's going to impact your consumer. Okay, this is for the not yet interested customers, used all the time. That's going to keep them happy and more comfortable and increase the duration in the store. Next are those customers who will actually appear more likely to be interested in your assistance. We call it connect. And the idea is the more we connect with consumers, and this is all these skills are designed to get customers to want to talk to us. We haven't even talked to them yet. So we spend an awful lot of time up front on this. Really important, okay? This is the ability for us to get customers to respond the way we need them to.
Conversion. What is it? Well, it's a simple calculation. It's the percentage of buyers out of all the customers who walk in. And more than ever, the importance of this number is growing because the number of customers that visit is shrinking. But conversion is the result of something. And that something is when the customer's desire to buy becomes the decision to buy. And this is where you come in, because it's you that has the greatest impact on bringing these two buying emotions together. But in order to make this happen, you first need to connect. Connecting is all about reading and then reflecting your customer's signals of interest. When this is done well, your customer will see, hear, and feel your genuine interest, and that ignites the emotion to buy. Okay, the easiest and most frequent signals of interest to spot are the ones that suggest your customer might seem curious, satisfied, anxious, or uncertain. We see these all the time in our stores. The key is to read these signals so that you can adjust your behavior in a way that better connects with your customers. So keep in mind that your body language is just as important as the words you say. All right, let's start with a signal we see a lot. When the customer seems curious about a product or a display. Now, when it happens, simply reflect what you see. Demonstrate genuine interest with a similar expression of curiosity, and then say something like, "It looks like you have a question." There's something that happened there that's important but subtle. By beginning the dialogue with, "It looks like," you're actually communicating that you understand the customer's situation. So now, your customer will not only see, but also hear and feel your genuine interest. When that happens, the chances you'll connect are very high. The more customers you connect with, the more you're going to convert. Okay, for a customer who seems visibly satisfied with an item they've found, once again reflect what you see. With a nice smile and nod of approval, say something like, "It looks like you found what you're looking for." If a customer appears anxious, reflect what you see. Pick up your pace, which communicates your efficiency and your concern, and say something like, "It looks like you're in a hurry. How can I speed things up?" If a customer seems uncertain, again, reflect what you see. Walk confidently and project your knowledge by saying something like, "It looks like you're trying to make a decision." While it's likely you'll encounter each of these situations as well as others, it's very important you are comfortable. So, if you like these suggestions we've shown you, feel free to use them. If not, create your own. All that's important is your customers see, hear, and feel your genuine interest. So remember, the more you connect, the more you'll convert.
Okay, quickly. Now what we've got is 100% of the customers that walk through the door, 100%. We know exactly what we're going to do all the time to give them the kind of brand experience that they deserve. You're either interested or not yet interested. Either way, I know how to influence positive change on your experience. And I can see it. I'm in control of it. This empowers sales associates to become sales professionals. They go home at night and they talk about this. I'm seeing things differently. We asked them to go into other retail businesses, and now they can see associates who don't have the same skills that they do. It's a way to attract good talent to your company because they're going to learn and they're going to be more productive. Okay, this next skill is probably the most important skill of all. There are 3 levels of learning, and Amit may talk about this. At the Collective, we had a great project with you guys. Reconnecting is the ability for us to move skill to skill from the most basic foundational skills up to client acquisition, development, and retention, and proactive revenue generation, building a client base. You're going to hear no from time to time. This, and we talked about this a little while ago, no thanks, I'm just looking, we're going to hear it. Not even the most effective associates are going to hear it. But here's how we're going to turn no into yes.
While the saying, the more you connect, the more you'll convert is true, sometimes you're going to have to reconnect in order to convert. You see, no matter how skillfully you attempt to connect with customers who seem to be interested in your help, sometimes they're going to decline. What you do and say when that happens, and it will happen, makes all the difference when it comes to your conversion rate, and here's why. The vast majority of the time when sales associates hear, no thanks, I'm just looking, or thanks, but I'm all set, the typical, almost automatic response is to say something like, sure, let me know if you need anything. On one hand, this gives your customer what they want, time and space, which is a good thing. But on the other hand, you've just made it a lot more difficult to reconnect, which is not such a good thing. Okay, here's what happened. Because you told your customer to let me know if you need anything, you have to walk away and wait. And while you're waiting, it can sometimes be awkward for both you and your customer. And when you get yourself in this situation, the odds of reconnecting with your customer are pretty low. All right, here's the fix. In order to successfully reconnect with customers who initially decline your help, you have to get them to invite you to do it. That's right. Get them to invite you to do it. And it's a lot easier than you think. When you hear, no thanks, I'm just looking, instead of saying, let me know if you need anything, all you have to do is say, would it be okay if I check back with you in a little while? The answer to that question is overwhelmingly yes. This simple change of words changes everything because it turns no into yes. And the reason why is because the customer gets what they want, the time and space to browse, along with the confidence of knowing there's somebody comfortably available for them. Now everything has changed. Because you've asked for and received permission to reconnect, you can remain active. And when you see the time is right, you can comfortably reconnect because your customer is expecting this to happen. Chances of success are very high. So remember, it's simply a matter of changing your words. When you hear, no thanks, I'm just looking, reply with, would it be okay if I check back with you in a little while? And see how often your customers invite you to reconnect.
Okay, 100% of the customers that walk through the door, 100%. They're either interested or they're not. I know how to deal with the ones that are less interested. I know how to deal with the ones who look more interested. I now know how to deal with the customers who decline my ability to serve them. I am in really great shape. So now all of a sudden, I've got the whole store and every single one of your visitors at my disposal. It's a really, really powerful thing. Now, once we connect or we reconnect, the next skill is to get them to talk. Now, all of this has led up to just to get the customer to want to talk to us. And when they talk, it's really important. They like to talk about themselves. We got to get the associate to understand to do less talking and to do more asking. And it's called knowing before showing. Frequently, the associates do the complete opposite. They start showing before knowing. And we end up less effective with our sell-throughs. Okay, here we go.
Retail is all about baskets. The number of baskets and the size of those baskets. And it starts with one simple reality, that we are all customers. And fundamentally, we buy for two reasons. We need things and we like things. So the key to building the basket is to discover one or both from your customer, because when you do, you'll be able to powerfully present what we call product solutions. Now, there are only two ways to do this. The first requires luck. You know, stumbling on those customers who self-serve and then ask you to ring it up. But the second requires no luck at all. It's about something called knowing before showing. It's very straightforward because when it comes to your customers' needs and likes, it just makes sense that the more you know, the more you can show. But the reality is, when you initially engage with your customer, there's a knowledge gap. You know all about your products, but almost nothing about your customer's needs and likes, and your customer is the opposite. They know all about their needs and likes and very little about your products. So the objective is to close the gap. And there are two simple steps to do it. The first is asking easy to answer questions, and the second is simply sharing your product knowledge. So what kind of questions reveal your customer's needs? The ones that answer where. So where will you be wearing it? When? Are you thinking about something for every day or something more specific? And what? What type of jacket were you thinking about? Okay, why don't we give it a try with a situation that could happen almost any day. A customer walks in and says, I'm looking for a jacket. Now, when most associates hear the word jacket, they start talking about all the cool jackets they have. And that's what we call showing before knowing, and can very often be hit or miss. But if you rewind that tape, when the customer said, I'm looking for a jacket, what they're really saying is, I need a jacket. So a better response might begin with something like, well, I can certainly help you with that. Now, beginning that way builds your customer's confidence in your product knowledge, but more importantly, sets you up to comfortably ask any one of those needs questions that you want. And getting an answer to any one of them begins closing that knowledge gap. Now, while it's important to discover your customer's needs, the reality is what customers end up buying also has a lot to do with what they like. So what type of questions reveal what your customer likes? Questions about style. Do you prefer something waist-length or something a little longer? Color. Are you looking for a particular color or pattern? Or fabric? How about the weight? Would you like something heavy or on the lighter side? All right, right about now, you might be thinking, if I asked all of those questions, it would feel like an interrogation. Well, you don't have to ask all of them. Just know they're the types of questions that will encourage your customer to share information about themselves. And they can be asked any time during the visit, but only when you're comfortable and feel the time is right. Now, when you think you have enough information, you're ready to start presenting options. And always try to offer 3 items. As you do, enthusiastically share your product knowledge, highlighting features that match your customer's needs and or likes, such as style. Now that could be more refined, relaxed, or casual. Versatility. That's the use across different lifestyle scenarios. And fit, which basically boils down to size and shape. And once the customer is satisfied, resist the temptation to say, is there anything else you need today? Because the answer is so very often no, and the visit is likely to end. Instead, this is the time to recommend a product solution. Now, you might be thinking, wait a minute, all the customer wanted was a jacket. If he wanted something else, he would have asked. Well, you can relax, because recommending product solutions is not about piling it on. It's about helping your customers see and understand the way our products work together and what we are recommending this season. And the best part is you already have all the information you need to do it. Now, a product solution includes at least 3 pieces: a top, a bottom, and a third piece. Footwear or an accessory, that sort of thing. So use the item or items the customer wants to buy as your starting point, and then enthusiastically say something like, I've got something I'd like to show you that I think would look great with that jacket. Now, customers usually agree, and why wouldn't they? Right now, their buying emotions are running really high. And presenting a complete look has benefits to you and your customer. For you, it demonstrates your knowledge as a professional. And for your customer, it can help them see how items they already own can be worn to create the look you're presenting, or help them identify additional pieces they may want to add. And if they decline, not to worry. They will still appreciate your offer. So in the end, the size of the basket is all about discovering your customer's needs and likes, which will help you present product solutions that your customer will really appreciate.
So a lot of this information that the associates are going to need comes from your product education, and this is an ongoing initiative. So remember that skill about creating give and goes. ideas about the product, also what it would work with, and putting lifestyle matches together. That work is also beneficial when we finally get the chance to talk to the customer. They reveal what their needs and or likes are. Now I can powerfully and rapidly put together these looks. And that confident presentation is what the high impact folks in your business are doing. They know how to do it. Okay, we got to zip on. Next is balancing multiple customers. This is really important because we want to be outnumbered. Okay, we would like to have more customers in the store than associates. So they need this skill. And it's all about what I call the art of spinning plates. This can be done, okay, as it relates to people standing in line or people that are just casually shopping. Here's the idea. And this uses the idea of setting up to reconnect. This is the skill that they're going to need to be able to do it.
Customers times customers equals lots of customers. And while having lots of customers visit the store is a really good thing, it can sometimes be difficult, even frustrating. Because when customers who are interested in assistance are unable to receive it, it can lead to impatience, frustration, and aggravation. And when that happens, the emotion to buy can take a real hit. And so will your conversion rate. And though you never want your customers to feel this way, sometimes it feels out of your control. So let's gain more control over this situation by learning how to balance multiple customers. And here's how it works. First, you have to be proactive. Since your store has predictable visit patterns, those times during the day when it gets really busy, you can plan for it. Now, as these times grow closer, you have an increased chance that you will need to work with more than one customer at a time. In order to do this comfortably, you need to set the stage, which is nothing more than preparing the customer you're working with for the possibility that you might need to assist other customers. By saying something like, the store's beginning to get a little busy, and I may need to break away briefly just to get the other customers started. Would that be okay? Now, by showing respect and true concern, your customer will generally agree, and here's why. Customers know when stores get busy. They can see it, hear it, and feel it. And they know what it's like when the tables have been reversed on them. So once the stage is set, your primary focus is the customer you're working with. But if you see a customer in need of assistance, make sure to acknowledge them. This simple gesture is a big deal because it will create patience and a willingness to wait. Not for a long time, but generally long enough to find what we call a break point. Break points are those moments in time when you and the customer or customers you're working with experience a natural pause of some sort, like when customers are discussing their buying decision with a shopping companion, or considering items, or considering using the fitting room. Okay, once you find a break point, simply ask permission to break away momentarily by saying something like, why don't you take a moment to consider these options? I'm just going to get this other customer started and I'll be right back. Is that okay? You will find most often the customer will agree because you've already set the stage. Okay, now it's time to engage your second customer. Walk with energy and purpose and make direct eye contact. This clear body language sends a powerful message to the waiting customer that you are available, but that time together is limited since you are helping other customers. And when you engage your second customer, set the stage again by saying something like, hi, thanks for your patience. I'm actually working with another customer, but I'd be happy to get you started. A statement like this has several benefits. First, it suggests you are available, but only for a limited amount of time. Second, it will accelerate the flow of information your customer will share. And third, it establishes that you will return to your first customer. All right, as you work with your new customer, you need to monitor your first customer for signals that it's time to return. And when you receive those signals, acknowledge them in a way that suggests you recognize it's time to return. Then disengage from your current customer with a polite, professional explanation. I think either one of these shirts will work, but I need to get back to my other customers. How about I check back with you in a few moments? Then comfortably reconnect with your first customers with the same eagerness, energy, and professionalism. And that's all it takes. So now you can really enjoy those busy times, because the more often you balance multiple customers, the more often you can look forward to seeing those conversion rates climb. And that is a very good thing.
Okay, so you can see that that foundational skill of setting up to reconnect is really important. The highest impact people that I've ever worked with love it when they're overwhelmed with customers. Most associates don't. They do. Because the power of that engagement, okay, when you actually engage that second or third customer, that body language that we're talking about, which is so important, it generates the flow of information. The more information, we just talked about that a second ago, when you connect needs and likes, the more information that flows and the more rapid it flows, the faster I'm going to be able to make those product recommendations that I already know how to do. So all of a sudden, okay, I'm really spinning plates and the customer's really doing most of the work. What I'm doing is facilitating. And this is why being in the right place at the right time, being able to say the right thing to the right customer, enables the power of this. Okay? Now, there's a lot going on here, and I'm going to finish with saying thank you, okay? And this is how to kiss them goodbye once they come to the store. Really important for us to understand. I say begin with the end in mind. For people to access us at retail, they got to get up, get dressed, get in their car or some form of transportation. They got to come down, walk in. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So whether they buy or they don't buy, the ability to give them a sense of appreciation for them doing that is really critically important. So the end, I think, is just as important as the beginning. Thank and encourage.
It's a fact that every customer visit eventually comes to an end. So when it comes to adding value at every step of that visit, it's important that you keep the end in mind. That's right. The end of your customer's experience is every bit as important as the beginning. And when it's all said and done, whether your customer buys or not, leaving the store feeling appreciated for their visit and warmly encouraged to return again is the icing on the cake. And here's a little piece of information that you should know. Up to 70% of customers leave retail stores feeling unappreciated. And that's because most retailers consider a customer to be only those who buy something. What an opportunity we have, and we're going to take advantage of it. All right, shopping in a store isn't like shopping online. It takes way more effort. Think about it. The customer has to get up, get dressed, put money in their pocket, get in their car, drive, park, walk in, and try to buy something. And as we know, the majority of the time, customers end up not making a purchase. But whether or not a purchase occurs, the same amount of effort has been invested by that customer. So leaving the store feeling appreciated for the effort and encouraged to return again can make all of it worthwhile. Showing appreciation is more than just thanking a customer for stopping in. Think of it as your final touch. All right, we all know that when a customer leaves our store, they have either made a purchase or not. So you need to think about each. Now let's begin with those customers who make a purchase. Begin by expressing your appreciation for the visit. By saying something like, Mr. Johnson, I want to thank you for coming in today. Then personalize it by adding something like, I've enjoyed working with you. Walk around and present the package to your customer, and then support the purchase by adding something like, I think you're really going to enjoy your shoes. And finally, encourage them to visit again by saying something like, and I hope the next time you're in, we get a chance to work together again. Now that's a turbocharged thank you that delivered both a genuine sense of appreciation and the encouragement to return again. But even if you don't connect all those statements together, adding any one of them will add a real boost to your thank you. And here's one more thing. On average, loyal customers are worth up to 10 times as much as their first purchase. So now what about those customers you work with who don't make a purchase? Remember, this situation happens the majority of the time. Well, it's completely the same, and why wouldn't it be? The customer has made the exact same effort to get to the store, so don't they deserve the same sense of appreciation? Watch how the associate adds just as much value. I want to thank you for coming in today, and I'm sorry we didn't find what you were looking for. But I hope we have better luck the next time you're in. Have a nice day. In both of these situations, the customer will leave the store with a feeling of appreciation and the encouragement to return. So the next time he goes shopping, he's likely to choose us. And that's so important because it costs 6 to 7 times more to acquire a new customer than to retain an existing one. So make sure you keep the end in mind, because whether your customer buys or not, they will remember your service a lot longer than they'll remember their purchase.
Okay, quick wrap up. That's pretty much it. So to create a buying environment, the basic foundation, we've got this idea of proactivity, the idea of a genuine whole body hello, assessing a state of interest. Some are ready, some are less interested in working with us. Give and goes, connections, re-engagement, all get us to a better place of keeping the customer more comfortable and in our store longer, and we know duration is critically important, critically important. We need them in our store, and we want them happy as long as possible. Then we get a chance to talk to the customer. Know before you show. Ask really simple, easy to answer questions. Okay? Gather that information, assimilate that, and make your powerful product recommendations. Whether they buy or they do not buy, then there's a sense of genuine appreciation for the fact that they did come to us. And they will, in fact, come again because you've got a great brand, you've got great products, and they actually want to buy. So those are the foundational pieces of creating a buy environment. I hope, and I'm going to skip over this. These are those skills. And I want to thank you, and I hope I get the opportunity to work with you again. Thanks. Thanks. Thank you. So now it's time for, 10 minutes for the panel? Okay, so we've got the opportunity to ask any questions that you want. I'm sure that you're thinking about your own business, and some of these things may not or may work. So I'm here to answer any questions that you have. Come on, you got to have some questions. I mean, you agree with everything? It's all perfect? You're going to be able to take it back? Yes. Microphone. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi. We had an amazing session and really insightful. Thanks for that. So at the time of re-engagement, so let's say a customer came and he was not ready to interact with you.
Yes.
And then we said that, is it okay if I check back with you in a while?
Yes.
To open the opportunity to again check back. But isn't this a question again to hear no from the customer? Because me as a customer would say, no, I'll call you when I need you.
Yes. Okay. And that's okay. All right? So there will be customers that will actually decline. There will be. But my objective, okay, is to play the odds. The majority of them will actually accept. Try it. Okay, try it. Because what you really want, what the customer really wants is time and space. They want to be left alone. They want to be able to shop at their convenience. And I will let you know when you are going to come to me. That's really what happens when, no thanks, I'm just looking. Sure, take your time. Let me know. You're setting that up. But if you give them what they want, which is time and space, and you say, absolutely, take your time. There's many wonderful things to look at. You can even give your name. My name is Michael, or not. Would it be okay if I just check back with you in a little while to see how you're doing? It's fascinating how often you will hear yes. If you hear no, you do exactly what the customer said. Great. Let me know if you need anything, and you're right back where you were originally. See? So all we're trying to do is take advantage and move the needle slightly north all the time. Just slightly. Nothing works all the time, but slightly. It's a really good question. It comes up a lot. So make sure your teams, if you try this, are comfortable with it. Because if you ask a question of your teams, if you say, I'm the customer, you have to respond, no thanks, I'm just looking. I'll guarantee you it'll be very hard for them to break the habit of saying, okay, would it be, it's hard. So they have to practice it, okay? What else?
Thank you.
Other question? Yeah.
This is Martin. I think this is a little bit simplified. This is the perfect world you're showing. I think everything starts from the top management level, that you see your staff as an asset, and probably the most important assets you got in your company, and not a cost.
Good for you.
I think it's very important that management pay super attention to their staff and accept them, not just as somebody that needs to fit into the store like your merchandise, but it's the most important asset you got. Regarding the questions, I think it's also important you ask open questions and not closed questions, because if you do the closed questions, they will always reply yes or no. So that's also a part of the training.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. I completely agree. That's my world, people, and valuing those people. And I completely agree with you. Great brands that have all four components are actually on their way to becoming category killers. So if you're doing that, it is absolutely imperative and fantastic that you do. Next, your statement is also true. The idea of open-ended questions, I call them easy-to-answer questions. They're the exact same. I find it somewhat difficult, this is in my world, for people to understand what an open-ended versus a closed-ended question is. Easy-to-answer questions are questions about the consumer. You can do it any way you like, but you're absolutely correct. Try to get the customer engaged to share information about themselves. Yes?
Yeah, I just wanted to check out, while service is important and top line is as well, and I agree with you that top line will come if you take care of the service part. But when it comes to incentivizing sales staff, what is your recommendation? Where do we put that money?
Okay, that gets asked a lot. I've worked in every environment. I've worked in commission, I've worked in salary base, bonus, and I've worked in straight salary. This is the way I think about it, and it does come from the top. I actually don't care how you pay, okay? I don't. What I try to do is to explain to the associate that if you're going to be delivering my brand experience, you are going to grow in my organization. It will be recognized. Now, if you want to pay them for it, you can. But what's really important for me is I have to play the hand that's dealt in every environment, every single one of them. So the way I think about it is it's a really good deal what you've done. You've hired these people, you've brought them into your brand. You're actually going to pay them to learn to be brand ambassadors. That's a really good deal. So I'm here to help you learn. And my hope is that you want to learn. If we put those two things together, you're going to be successful and grow with my organization. So incentivizing is all about having them buy into your brand. You want to pay them for it. There's 3 or 4 different ways you can do that. I haven't found one to be more successful than the other, although people will say commission or getting paid for what they sell, but sometimes that promotes behavior that is not brand appropriate. Any other questions?
We have an unbelievable amount of turnover in India. An average salesperson lasts maybe a year, max, if you're lucky, a year and a half. Now, training, what you essentially did to us is train us. Now, which is what you want us to do with them.
Yes.
Have you found a system in a situation like India where these systems work well so that the training is constant, or how do you?
Okay. Yes, the collective, and I'll have Amit talk about it, but you're absolutely correct. Turnover is a big problem, okay, and it happens quick. The vast majority of turnover happens in the first 90 days. And some of the businesses we work with in America have over 100% turnover, okay, 100% every year. So, and training's expensive. So this is not really training. What we hope this is, if you inject something like this into your organization, it's a way of doing business. That's it. They get swept up like Nordstrom does. You get swept up in the way in which we want you to learn to interact with the customer. And each one of these tiny little skills, this is what I've learned, are designed to be used as little nuggets. Okay, so if I can see that you need to work on being in the right place at the right time, or the idea of give and go. In 4 minutes, I can give you that particular skill. It's ongoing. Okay? This is never, when I hear there's training, they've been through the training, okay? I know you're in trouble. No such thing. That's compliance, getting through the program. They're not trained. What they are is they're exposed. Then they get dropped into your brand experience. Our job is to create a brand that sweeps them up into delivering our customer experience. I would love Amit to talk about the collective, okay? Could you just do that? Take a microphone and tell them what you do.
Well, we pretty much do what you tell us to do. So Michael, of course, was part of the whole setup of the collective 10 years back, and pretty much the entire philosophy of creating the buying environment was absorbed by the business. And of course, over years, we have evolved it to be a very special branded customer experience. And there are multiple things that we have done because we've seen the experience and defined it in great detail from a customer's point of view, and then there are different sides to it, and everybody has to play a role to get in. But customer experience is the most important piece, and we don't actually train people in this or any of the other things to deliver the training experience. That's the only way we work. So when somebody joins us, obviously there is a little bit of induction and things like that, so they get exposed to it. But then they're working with their coaches, as we call, the first line team managers, who typically are getting these people to work the way we work. That's the only way we do things. You grow in the organization only if you get a certain amount of competence in some of the skills as we've defined it. Of course, when you follow the skills, you obviously get fantastic results, and everybody in the organization is dedicated to it. We are also probably one of a kind, so for us, the customer experience is extremely important. It's the most important thing. But of course, to deliver that customer experience, our people, obviously, they come first. I know Michael did talk a little bit initially about the digital portion of it, and so in our own story, for example, when we went in for e-commerce, we pretty much took our service philosophy and we defined it, and we designed the entire e-commerce experience around it, so much so that everything's manned by people who've been on the floor pretty much doing what we've talked about here every day. So what we have here is a very, very natural system, because this is the operating system for us. And we are very lucky. People actually stay very, very long for us. The average tenure of retail staff with us is about 2.5 years. And so do the customers. I mean, we have customers as a 10th year. We have customers going all the way back 10 years. So yes, to a certain extent, we have been successful in this environment to implement and get results out of this philosophy.
Okay, so we're going to wrap it up because, okay. One more question? Okay.
Sorry to rise pretty late for questioning you. That was a fabulous session I had, and it pretty much opened up many concepts. It exposed me to many new concepts. But you just said till the time the customer leaves the store, okay? But post the customer leaves the store, me as a consumer has faced that many brands go ahead and become so desperate that they keep badgering me with messages and mails.
Yes.
So what do you think there should be like? People should be, the brand should be, post sales be so desperate enough to message you daily.
Yeah. Okay. So. Again, it's very, very hard for me.
And there are many salespeople again, they keep on calling us. So they do it so much that, we fear giving out our information to them.
And it's a turnoff. One very important fundamental here, which is setting up to reconnect, okay? Ask permission. Get permission from your customer. Would you like me to stay in touch? Would you like me to keep you updated? Would you like me to? If you get permission, you'll be effective. If you don't get permission, then it can sometimes be thought about and felt like, I mean, come on, enough is enough. So when you're in the high impact of the client development business, permission is always asked. And you can see how we've done this all the way through. But there's no perfect way to deal with this. And the buying environment, last thing, the buying environment can be adapted to any business model, from Starbucks to Staples and everything in between, because we're all consumers. What you want your brand experience to look like, sound like, and feel like should be understood, internalized, and applied by your teams, both digitally and bricks and mortar. And that's how you're going to blend the two together and be more consistent. So thanks again. I'm all done. And around for a couple of days. If anybody wants to chat privately, that'd be great. So thanks very much. Thank you.